Morning. So, yeah, it's Tuesday, something like, I don't know, the 16th of June, and I guess it's Men's Mental Health Awareness Week this week. And the things that come to mind around it is, this idea of breaking down stigma around mental health and seeking help and speaking to people about your mental health. And there is an issue around that where it's seen as not being, you know, strong or something to not to talk about it. But I think it's really important, and you know, I just think about that aspect of urging people to think that it's okay to seek help. I think it's really important because there is help out there. Things like Andy's Man Club. So Andy's Man Club is a really good talking group, support group that happens across the UK, and you can just search that up online, Andy's Man Club. And there's always been positive feedback from them, and whenever I've interacted with them, they've always been very enthusiastic and, just compassionate, and, I think it would be lovely to go to one of those groups. And I had a talk. I attended one of the talks from the founder of that when I worked in the prisons, and he was very passionate about stuff. And I think, it's feeling okay to go down to one of these things and seek it out, because they're there and they're going to be welcoming to people to come and have a chat, And you don't necessarily need to have a chat. You can just go down there and sit and listen, and just have a cup of tea kind of style, And there's also all sorts of free talking therapies that you can Google NHS talking therapies in the UK at least, and find your local talking therapies. You can speak to your GP as well, and you could also look at like walk and talk groups that you might find in your local area on Facebook. And sometimes that's just good just to go and have a walk and talk with folk, And then there's also the Samaritans, which is available on 116123. In the UK, you can call that for free. Yeah, and I think it's really important, and even sometimes people have found it helpful to set up their own support group, with their mates, and sometimes people are just looking to have somebody be the first one to talk about it, and then other people are willing to talk about it, And there's been times in my life that I've really needed the support of services in the past, and that was essential, when I was unwell to get that support. So I'd encourage people to seek it out, and also there's this aspect of knowing that it can be helpful to think that I've been there at the rock bottom a few times, and it's good to think sometimes that actually things do change or can change. Like I'm sat here now amongst the roses in the garden, feeling gratitude for things, but also reflecting on the flavour of how that felt, to be at rock bottom. And it's good to know that sometimes that things can change quite dramatically differently for the good over a relatively short time sometimes, or even like, decades down the line, it can be quite different, your life, with little incremental changes over time, you know, and knowing that there can be a significant difference in what it looks like. So yeah, so keeping that in mind, that it might be just a temporary situation that you're in that's difficult, but it might not feel like that, and it might be hard to think about, you know, it being different, but it can be quite different in the future, you know. And actually, yeah, seeking out the support of others, seeking out the support of family sometimes, or friends, speaking about things, going to your GP, and noticing if there's any other support groups locally to where you are. And it might even be that there's like a local version to you, or sometimes like a gardening group or something like that, allotments or something, or a community garden might be a nice support as well. Yeah, and sometimes it can be helpful to get involved in going, say, to the gym a bit, because you might get some gym buddies that go there that you could chat to a wee bit. And generally kind of breaking out of the avoidance and getting out a little bit more is probably a helpful thing. Yeah, and there's this aspect where I noticed all of the, you know, I'm catching the early train again this morning, and, you know, on that early train, you know, it's mostly men on that early train, you know. It's about 95+% men, hundreds of men on the train going to work early morning. And so I kind of think about that, you know, and sometimes it's that thing of, it's strange, isn't it, but knowing about that idea of kind of showing appreciation for that, you know, and thinking about that, and I don't know, it's a tricky one, but it's I guess it's that aspect of knowing that things can get better, and, you know, is a good thing. And it's got better for me, you know, massively, and you know, hopefully some of the things on my channel could be helpful for you as well, but yeah, sometimes it's just getting out in nature can be nice, you know, just kind of taking some time for yourself and going for a walk, or making a wee picnic for yourself and a bottle of water and going for a wee walk in the park or something like that might be nice, you know, just to kind of get in touch and ground yourself naturally to the environment, and that can create a bit of peace and tranquility for you, you know. But have a good one, and take care for now.